Good evening. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. News in detail. Bahrain mourns late UAE President. At an order by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Kingdom of Bahrain has mourned late His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the UAE. The Kingdom of Bahrain paid homage to the late UAE President who passed away after a life rich in achievements to serve the UAE people as well as the Arab and Islamic nations. It extended most sincere condolences to the Al Nahyan family and the UAE people to bless the deceased with mercy and rest his soul in vast paradise. At the order of His Majesty the King, an official 3-day mourning was declared, during which flags in the Kingdom of Bahrain lowered at half-mast. Absentee funeral prayer performed for late His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al at Bahraini mosques. Mosques across Bahrain today held the absentee funeral prayer for the late UAE President, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who passed away yesterday. The move is in line with His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's directives to perform the absentee funeral prayer for the late His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed. Bahrain and China keen on bolstering cooperation across several areas. Minister of Works, Municipalities Affairs and Urban Planning, Essam bin Abdullah Khalaf, received Chinese Ambassador to Bahrain, Anwar Habibullah. The meeting reviewed cooperation in the field of agriculture and marine wealth and ways to benefit from the Chinese experience in agriculture, in desert areas and fish farming. The Minister expressed appreciation of the growth of bilateral cooperation in all levels, especially in infrastructure and the exchange of expertise. His Majesty King Hamad attended lunch banquet hosted by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa today attended the lunch banquet hosted by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, at Windsor Palace, marking His Majesty the King's attendance of the Royal Windsor Horse Show 2022. His Majesty King Hamad and Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II exchanged cordial talks on the solid, deep-rooted relations between the royal families in the two friendly kingdoms. They also reviewed the long-standing strong Bahraini-UK relations, which are growing steadily in all fields. Insurance schemes set to boost private healthcare. National Health Insurance Program (SAHATI), set to be launched this year, will enhance Bahrain's competitiveness and boost the private healthcare sector. Top medics have said it could even result in patient exodus to private facilities, they said, calling on potential businesses to invest in the healthcare segment. Bahrain participated in UNESCO's IBE Council meeting. The Kingdom of Bahrain, represented by the Education Ministry, today participated in the virtual meeting of UNESCO's International Bureau of Education Council. Education Minister Dr. Majid bin Ali Al Nuyami, who is the Vice President of IBE Council, took part in the discussion of the topics of the agenda of the meeting, including the strategic plan for 2022-25 and future plans. The panel also reviewed the lessons learned from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on education. Foreign Minister held official talks with Greek counterpart. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani held here today official talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Hellenic Republic, Nikos Dentias, during his official visit to Greece. They reviewed the strong historical friendly relations between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Hellenic Republic and the growth and development they are witnessing in all levels, within a framework of mutual respect and a common desire to enhance and develop bilateral cooperation in various political, economic and investment fields for the benefit of the two friendly countries and people. His Highness Sheikh Nasser won 160-kilometer race at Royal Windsor Horse Show 2022. His Majesty, the King's representative for humanitarian work and youth affairs and Royal Endurance Team Captain, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, today won the 160-kilometer race of the Royal Windsor Horse Show 2022. His Highness Sheikh Nasser led the Royal Endurance Team to distinguished positions during the 160-kilometer race, which is held for the first time at Royal Windsor Horse Show. The race featured fierce competition among riders from many countries, especially those from the UAE. 23-foot-long vessel sailed drone in Bahrain. The deployment of a robotic 23-foot-long vessel sail drone which resembles a torpedo with a 15-foot-tall shark fin in the kingdom had been in the reports of US Navy's Stars and Stripes. Powered by wind and solar panels, it has cameras and sensors to keep watch and the ability to sift through data to figure out what's important. These unmanned ships can help the fleet patrol the busy waters of the Middle East, a pathway for much of the world's shipping as well as for pirates, smugglers and militias armed with drones of their own. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
Al Hilal Healthcare Group celebrated International Nurses Day on the 12th of May 2022. The nurses were gathered in the hospital's main lobby and cut the cake. Each nurse was gifted with a rose and a Nurses Day greeting. Dr. Sharat Chandran, CEO of Al Hilal Healthcare Group, CA Sahal Jamaluddin, Finance Manager of Al Hilal Healthcare Group, and respective branch heads were part of the event in each branch. Now we will be back after a very short break.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahla. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
Welcome back. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan elected as the President of UAE. The Federal Supreme Council today unanimously elected His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan as President of the United Arab Emirates. The Council held a meeting today at Al Mushrif Palace in Abu Dhabi, chaired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai. Emirates News Agency reported. A statement issued by the Ministry of Presidential Affairs said that according to Article 51 of the Constitution, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan was unanimously elected as the President of the UAE to succeed the late Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan. His Majesty the King congratulated UAE President and praised solid bilateral relations. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa today sent a cable of congratulations to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan following his election as President of the United Arab Emirates. His Majesty the King expressed sincere congratulations to President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed for the precious trust bestowed upon him by the members of the UAE Federal Supreme Council. His Majesty King Hamad prayed to Allah the Almighty to protect the UAE President and bless him with abundant health and wellness, so as to be able to carry on the progress march witnessed by the UAE, achieve the aspirations of the brotherly UAE people for more development and prosperity, as well as to serve the joint Gulf Cooperation Council and Arab Action. His Majesty the King also affirmed the depth of the deep-rooted, distinguished Bahraini-UAE relations, stressing the kingdom's keenness to continue strengthening bilateral ties and cooperation for the best interests of the people of two brotherly countries. UAE late President laid to rest in Abu Dhabi Cemetery. The late UAE President Sheikh Khalifa was laid to rest in Al Bateen Cemetery in Abu Dhabi. Prior to his burial, Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and members of Al Nahyan family performed funeral prayers at Sheikh Sultan bin Zayed, the first mosque in Abu Dhabi. Saudi Arabia postponed sporting and recreational events until Monday. All recreational and sporting events in the kingdom have been suspended until Monday, May 16th, following the death of the UAE late President. The Ministries of Culture, Tourism, Sports and the General Entertainment Authority announced. The Ministry of Tourism also announced the suspension of all tourism events and activities until Monday. UAE announced unemployment benefit scheme. UAE has announced an unemployment benefit scheme for private and government sector workers as part of a larger job security initiative launched by the government. The law reportedly applies to all employees regardless of nationality and will come into effect in 2023. The benefits do not apply to investors, domestic workers, temporary contract workers, retirees who receive pension, those who newly entered a job, and those under the age of 18. The amount will be made in monthly cash payments. The system will function like an insurance package where residents pay forward a certain sum every year to the unemployment fund, local media reported. Employers who lose their jobs under unforeseen circumstances will reportedly receive 60% of their salary or up to 20,000 monthly for a limited time, helping maintain a rolling income. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.